Is there anyone here today who wants to be a detective? Just me now. Growing up, I've always enjoyed solving jigsaw puzzles, riddles, and the Rubik's Cube. Well, trying to solve them. Every minute of every hour whilst I'm at school, I can't wait to get home to solve any new puzzles I've bought or any new ones online. Every week the newspaper arrives and as soon as I hear the letterbox, I sprint to the front door as fast as I can, grabbing the newspaper enthusiastically. I immediately sit down at the kitchen table with my older sister, who is much like me, as we both enjoy unscrambling puzzles, especially the challenging ones to test ourselves, and we attempt to solve any crosswords or word searches. Sometimes we have a competition to see who can complete it first. Obviously, I win. One of my favourite things to do is watch TV shows and films. My ultimately favourite show is called Brooklyn Nine-Nine, about a police force full of detectives solving various crimes around New York City. The show is comedic and makes me laugh whenever I watch it. I also enjoy watching documentaries about different cases, whether they are solved or unsolved. I always try and see if I would be able to solve them before they've announced the criminal. My favourite documentaries are the ones that are unsolved because they leave you with so many unanswered questions. Before I talk about one of the most unusual cases, let me tell you what a detective is and what they do. A detective is an investigator whose duty is to detect criminals by collecting information to solve crimes. They can do this by talking to witnesses and informants, collecting physical evidence, and interrogating possible suspects. When solving a crime, a detective conducts an investigation to determine the truth by asking two questions: who was responsible and what was the motive behind the crime. They start by looking for clues around the crime scene, photographing important objects and details. They also dust for fingerprints and collect any DNA like hair. They send those samples to the lab for testing, hoping to get a result within the next 24 to 48 hours. They search CCTV cameras in the area and talk to witnesses nearby to try and put together a suspect that may have committed the crime. On average, detectives may take a few weeks or even a few months, depending on how much evidence they have collected and how valuable that evidence is. The one case that intrigues me and leaves me with 1 million questions is the Ali Salam case. Some of you may have heard about this case before. On the 26th of January 2013, Ali Salam arrived in LA from Canada. She was 21, still in college, trying to get a break from her studies. As she was so young, her parents advised her to call every day, so they would know she was safe. She checked into Cecil Hotel, which was known for its several murders and unnatural deaths. When she didn't call on the 31st of January, her parents became worried and contacted the police, but they couldn't find her on the premises of the hotel. On the night of her disappearance, there's footage of her entering an elevator, acting very strange. Whilst waiting for the doors to close, she kept on looking out worryingly as if someone's following her, and for a couple of minutes she's seen outside the elevator making bizarre hand gestures. That was the last footage seen of her. The police did a thorough search around the hotel and on the roof but found nothing. The next day, residents of the hotel started complaining about the taste of the water, so the head of maintenance went onto the roof to check the water tanks. Ali Salam was floating in one. Nobody knowing how she ended up in there. Many questions were left open for speculation. How did she die? How did she end up in the water tank? Was she murdered? In the end, the police ruled it an accidental drowning as there was no suspicion of foul play. However, this is a case I will forever think about. This is the reason why I want to become a detective, so I can solve any unsolved mysteries and answer all the remaining questions.